Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 93 of the Sensible
That
Sociopath
sounds
podcast.
about right. Yeah.
92, 93, something like that. Anyways, it's one of them. 93, yep. So, Roma, you know how you were like, oh, Steve, you look so well rested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So last night, I painted for about 7 hours or so, okay?
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you want me? I'm going to try to do a wide shot here. Nice job.
Mm-hmm.
Is it done yet, or do you have more to go?
Nope, still have more to go.
What you're doing? Who knew you were so artistic?
I know, right?
And by artistic, I mean autistic.
Yeah. I have trouble identifying with people, talking to other human beings.
Yeah.
It was right about 2:30 in the morning, and I was painting,
Okay.
and I started getting chest pain.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and so I've been a diabetic for 27 years.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, you just hear these things that, like, people are like, oh, if you have diabetes, your toes are gonna fall off, and you're, gonna have a heart attack and all that stuff. So I got this, like, sharp chest painy feeling, and I've been sitting there painting for 7 hours, just hunched over. I had taken one break, and I went and got some healthy food, so got a double cheeseburger and a spicy chicken sandwich and fries. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I have this chest pain, and it was like really kind of abrupt, and then I stood up really quick because I was like, what was that? And I got dizzy.
Uh-oh.
And so I'm like, fuck. And I didn't get sweaty, and I didn't like have a feeling of impending doom.
That's always good.
But I did have a feeling of impending concern.
Right.
So we live close to a hospital. So I got dressed, and I started walking, and I walked like halfway there, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot my phone charger and battery, and I'm like, I don't want to die without podcasts. So I walked back.
Oh my God.
Got that, and then
So you're having a heart attack. You walk to the hospital, get halfway there, realize you don't have your phone and your charger.
No, I had my phone, but the battery was like 40%.
And so you walk back while potentially having a heart attack.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure we're clear on this.
So I walked all the way there, and I didn't want to like call you or anything because I was just like, I knew I didn't feel like I was dying, but I was like,
better have it checked out.
Then again, what does a heart attack feel like? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I went up to the emergency room, and I was thinking about, the people in my life, and like, what would they say to me right now? Like, would they tell me to go get checked out or not? Because my instinct is not to get checked out, because I'm just like, meh, it's whatever. So I was like, they're going to make me feel like an ass for not getting checked out.
Yeah.
If if it was concerning enough to get dressed and to walk fucking to the hospital. So I walk, I'm like, fine, gonna go. So I walk up to the door slides open, I turn around and walk away.
Oh, God.
And so then I just kind of lap the hospital. I'm like, it's like 2:30 around this time or so. I think I got the pain at like 2:15. This time I said, hey, I don't want to alarm anyone, because when you say chest pain,
they get you in there immediately.
It's a big deal. So I've been a diabetic for like 28 years and just had this sharp pain in my chest, and I just want to get checked out.
Sure.
They took me back very quickly, which I felt like an ass because there's like 4 people waiting in the
bleeding out in the emergency room.
Yeah. And it's on St. Patty's Day, so thankfully there weren't a bunch of drugs or drama going on in there. So they took me back. Then suddenly 3 nurses are all buzzing around me, and I'm like, everybody chill, it's cool. They did an EKG, they drew labs, started an IV, took my vital signs. Doctor came in. And so when you're doing a chest pain like evaluation, they do the EKG, something called troponin, which is a enzyme that's released by your heart cells when they die.
Okay.
And so if you're having a heart attack, these cells will release into your bloodstream.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, the doc came in and did like a little history on me and just asked me about like the medications I take and that sort of thing. And I'm like, I walk every day. I'm like, I do kettlebell swings, and like I did a bunch that day, and the only I did like 2 like heavy sets where I'm like, panting, and then the third set I got this little like twinge in my back, so I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean I worked myself up pretty well, and nothing then. But when I'm sitting and painting,
Mm-hmm.
gently, delicately painting, then suddenly I get this, sharp chest pain. So, long story short, the cafeteria was closed.
Okay.
And that was the worst part of the night.
So you didn't have a heart attack?
Oh, no, I didn't have a heart attack.
Okay,
no,
good.
I was getting to the cafeteria part.
Okay, good.
Yes, but they discharged me. I pretty much pulled everything off me. I'm like, I have an interview to do in like 5 hours. Can I just go? Because I got there at 2:30-ish, and then got discharged and was home by like 6:15 or
Oh,
something
Jesus.
like that.
Okay.
And so if I was a little grumpy today,
That's why I know. I called you. I'm
maybe
like
3 hours of sleep, something like, I don't know, something like that.
yeah, I called you and I'm like, are you up? And you're like, kind of. And I'm like, okay, we have an interview in like an hour. So
yeah. So,
well, I'm glad you
speaking of
did.
interviews,
I'm glad you didn't have a heart attack.
yes. So I did not have a heart attack, and actually the doc said several times the word excellent in my
Ooh.
which
good
I'm
job.
like, that's cool. I'm all about that. But yeah, he was just saying, he's like, your labs are excellent, your EKG is normal, and actually what he was thinking was that I might have had a pulmonary embolism, which is a clot that goes to your,
Ugh.
lung or something like that, which kills a lot of people if they're big,
Yeah.
because it cuts off blood flow. It just like blocks the blood from a part of your lung or heart or whatever.
Oh, that's not good.
But he's like, you're a young man. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Why, thank you, doctor.
I'm like, I'm only partially young, but okay. I'm on the young side still.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, I'm glad I got checked out because, I can still feel a little bit, but I feel fine.
Yeah.
So I'm
well,
like,
now you know.
yeah, I whatever it is, it's not life-threatening. Like they could put me through CT scans and they could do all that stuff and probably find the exact information that they found from the labs and the EKG and all that. So
we have a good guest.
We have an excellent guest.
I'm very excited.
Makes all of our other guests look like dog shit. I'm just kidding.
All of our guests have been great.
Yeah. It's always good to insult all your guests. First rule of podcasting. So, this is a guy that I have been familiar with for a long time.
Okay.
Because I watch a lot of, I love like alternative media podcasts.
Sure. Personally, I love conspiracy theories. I
was going to say, like, not all of them are conspiracy theories, but a lot that will at least look into them. And I think that's what our podcast should be, because obviously if you're doing things like Bigfoot and aliens,
Mothman,
why wouldn't you expand your mind into these other interesting areas?
Sure.
You may not 100% agree with them. You may not, whatever it is. But I think that's something that's come up several times in the interview is the importance of looking into things and questioning
things. Yeah.
Yes, because especially in times like COVID and times like, election season, whatever it might be, you might have a few questions if you do look into things, and especially with the media as it is and things like that. It's like it's
just
so
don't
apparent.
take what you're being spoon fed at face value.
Absolutely. And if you learn anything from us with how we look at the world and communism, Marxism, all these organizations, is like, we need to question some things because there's a lot of propaganda out there.
Yeah.
So our guest today is David Weiss,
also known as
Flat Earth Dave.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Or Flat Earth Dave Weiss. But he is, and he kind of, he'll explain it all to you, but he's really an expert in his field, and he's guested on lots of internationally renowned shows. We are super happy to have him. He's been featured 4 times on Sam Tripoli, who's a hilarious comedian, Tinfoil Hat with Brian Callen, which Sam Tripoli, I think, was on Tim Pool not too long ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Talk is Jericho, which is Chris Jericho. He's the former wrestler Jericho.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Very handsome, strapping lad. Of course, one of my favorites, Anthony Cumia.
Yep.
Of Compound Media. So he's formerly of Opie and Anthony, and they always get in fights because Anthony Cumia loves, he's like totally into space and like all this stuff. So he's and he always has Neil deGrasse Tyson on, an astrophysicist that he's friends with.
Right,
and,
right.
Obviously, you got to keep up appearances, right?
Sure.
Alex Jones, the infamous of InfoWars.
I miss him.
Yes. And Owen Benjamin, who was a comedian, podcaster, very controversial.
I didn't know he's a comedian.
Yes. Yeah, actually,
Owen Benjamin.
Yes.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He was on a television series. And then, he's kind of gotten into more and more conspiracy stuff.
I was thinking, what is his name? Owen Schroyer? Because he's also on InfoWars, I think.
Oh, I don't know him.
I think that's who I was thinking of. But yeah,
No.
Benjamin, he's not on. They kicked him off of YouTube too.
Kicked him off everything.
Everything? Okay.
Yeah, and he just on numerous other shows. And now to that illustrious list, the Sensible Sociopath podcast.
It was an obvious choice.
Absolutely. Jeez, can't believe it. I mean, I'm glad he got to warm up on those other small shows. So here's our interview with Flat Earth Dave Weiss. I've seen you on a lot of programs, and some of them being kind of my favorite alternative media programs. I guess people are either believers or they're in between, kind of like us, or staunchly against it. What do you prefer? Who do you prefer to talk to?
I prefer to talk to people that think flat Earth is absolutely ridiculous.
I assumed that actually, yeah.
Yeah, because when I talk to flat earthers, it's like hanging out, having some beers with some buddies. It's
right.
Like, all right, what are we gonna talk about? Yeah, I know that. I know we can see too far. I know water lays flat over, at rest. I know that you can't have high pressure next to a vacuum without a container. I know that NASA's faking everything.
Yeah. All right.
It goes on and on. I know the Earth isn't spinning. I know that every test for it to spin proved that it was stationary.
Interesting.
But when I talk to people that are willing to listen and can accept new information to replace old indoctrinated ideas that have no proof behind them, those are amazing. There's a lot of people, though, that are so dug in because this is ingrained into us from before we could even talk. The globe was ingrained into us. And then when you go to school, kids are programmed with, globes, planets, dinosaurs, asteroids wiping out people and dinosaurs. And, they're basically just programmed with fear and insignificance. And it's hard for a lot of adults to break that programming.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us and the audience what it is exactly that, the whole flat Earth theory is?
Well, I don't like calling it the flat Earth theory.
Okay,
Excuse me.
Fair enough.
I'm losing my voice. Because we can scientifically provably prove with science and observations and experiments that we're not on a spinning ball flying through infinite space. That's impossible.
Okay.
We have lots of questions. There's tons that we don't know. But the difference between a flat earther and a globe earther is we know that we don't know. But with that said, there's different theories on what's beyond Antarctica. And that's fine because we can speculate all we want, but we can prove that the Earth is stationary. There is no sphericity. Can I say that word today? Sphericity. And where we live is a flat, motionless plane. Everybody agrees with that. Now, is there a dome? What's beyond the dome? Are there other domes? That's all speculation, and that's fine. But what globers laugh at flat Earth because they think that flat earthers think that this is the flat Earth, a disc floating in space.
Okay.
Right? No flat earther thinks that. If you Google flat Earth, you're going to end up at the Flat Earth Society, which is a government-run disinformation site to make you laugh at flat Earth and never look at it again. But that's the number one thing that will come up. So the other thing that globers have in common is they don't really even understand their own model. They don't know that in the heliocentric model that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Sorry about that. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That means when you're watching the sunset, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, which is making the sun appear to set. That's crazy, right? They don't know that they're orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. They don't know that they're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles an hour. And they don't know that the entire system is moving sideways in a fourth direction at
Big
1 or 2
Bang,
million miles an hour.
Yeah, the Big Bang would cause a trajectory.
Well, we're moving in 4 different directions at once, all in curving motions. So you can't say, when you're on an airplane, you can drink your water and you don't even notice that you're moving. Well, that's because the airplane's going straight and level. But all of the motions of the Earth are curves. And when you take a turn, that's acceleration. You could be going in a car 100 miles an hour holding a dinner plate with an inch of water on it. But as soon as that car starts to turn, that water is going off the plate. Okay. So all of these motions at ridiculous speeds have no effect. I mean, we're flying through space, but somehow, we have lakes that are perfect glass, perfect mirrors. Wow.
Well, and some of that would be like the theory of relativity, though, wouldn't it be?
Well, those are just words. There's theories. I mean, we show you actual science. They tell us that and I used to think it was the coolest thing ever. Because of the spin of the Earth at the equator, the water bulges 14 miles high, but you can't notice it from space because 14 miles is nothing in the relative size of the Earth, so your eye won't even pick it up. But 14 miles high, when I'm flying from the United States down to South America, at what point do I triple my altitude to skim over a wall of water, a hump of water, right? 14 miles high is 3 times the height of a plane. At what point do I climb 3 times the height of cruising altitude and skim over the top of a hump? And the answer is never, because the water, large bodies of water at rest lay flat. So if the Earth isn't a disk in space, what the heck is it? All right.
Well, if we go back to that point, my thought on that would be that pressure, so that if, atmospheric pressure would be part of that flight. And so...
So you believe that there's a level of pressure, and then as we go to the equator, that pressure goes up and over that hump. And when we're climbing up, gravity changes its angle so we don't feel that we're climbing.
And so are you saying that it's an abrupt 14 miles, or are you saying it's a
14
curvature?
miles at the equator within the tropics? So 14 miles is a significant height. Huh. You cruise at about 5,000 feet. So you're almost tripling your height to go up to this. Airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane. There is no change, and there, your airplanes fly through different pressure gradients all the time. You get a little turbulence. That's what it is. So what is the flat Earth? The flat Earth is like a big pond, a big lake. It's just a giant lake, and all of the continents, all of the continents are surrounded by water. Simple.
Okay.
All of the water is surrounded by land that's just higher than the water surface. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, period. It's the shoreline of the world lake. If you sail to the edge of the lake, you don't fall off the Earth. You just get to the shoreline, and then there's land. There's lots of land. Antarctica is likely bigger than all of the continents and all of the oceans combined.
Isn't it true that the government won't let you go and explore Antarctica?
Correct. You see that pink line is 60 degrees south approximately, and which is still like 1,000 miles from Antarctica, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And no one is allowed to go beyond that line with any fuel, and you're not even allowed to go beyond that line. And if you do, you're not allowed to bring any fuel. So there's been a couple people that have tried to go that got permission from their little rogue countries that said, yeah, you can go. We'll give you a permit. And before they even got to Antarctica, they were stopped by military force, threatened to be sunk, turned around, sent home, arrested, and jailed.
Interesting.
I mean,
Yeah, isn't that
how
interesting alone right there?
how awesome is that land? What
Well,
is
you know
there?
what is there? What is beyond that land? And
Yeah,
this is speculation. We don't know. There could be just a dome. It could just be a domed world, right? And we don't know what's out there. It could be dark and cold and desolate. Admiral Byrd in the late 1950s, he flew out there and said there's land bigger than America, filled with resources that no human has ever seen before,
like the
right?
Land Before Time or Land of the
Well,
Lost. It was Land of the
well,
Lost, I
well,
think.
they came up with the friggin' hollow earth theory that he flew into a hole and there was land underground. That's just more propaganda to keep your mind in a prison, which is the globe.
Yeah.
So, what is beyond Antarctica? Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's other oceans and extra territory out there.
Ooh.
Extra terra. Terra is land. So
Hmm.
if you have extra more land territory, what would you call those people that were out there that maybe come in and visit us? You'd
Illegal
call them
aliens.
no, you'd call them extraterrestrials.
That's what I
Okay.
meant.
And where are they coming from? They're coming from the outer
Limits.
space.
Oh, okay.
The
So-
outer space. So they're not lying to us. Extraterrestrials come from outer space.
Interesting.
So why would they hide this from us?
Why the lie? You guys are good. I actually judge. I'm very judgmental. I judge my hosts by how fast they get to the why the lie because as if you've done your research on me, you see that I have answers to most of the questions, and so then you just want to know why the lie, and that's a great question because I had that question too.
Yeah.
And it's hard for some people to see, but this world we're in is a world of deception. Right now, we're under tyranny worldwide. It's insane what's going on.
Right.
If you get within 6 feet of a healthy person, they're going to kill you. That's the fear that people have.
Right.
But if you're sitting at a table and you have food, then it doesn't matter how close you are to anybody. That's fine. When you're talking and spitting at people while you're sitting, that's fine.
Right.
But walking down a friggin' street or standing in an elevator, you're going to kill them.
Now, Dave, I'm guessing you're a double masker.
I am not a double masker. I'm a triple masker.
Yeah, that's right.
I have yet to put a mask on.
Wow.
Not once.
Okay.
Good job.
I shop without a mask. And there is no law. I basically made a new T-shirt just the other day for my T-shirt store that basically said it has a coronavirus cartoon, and it has a mask on, and it says "Show me the law," because there is no law.
Yeah.
No,
and they're
no
all
governor.
edicts.
A lot
What's
of
that?
They're all edicts.
Yeah, they're all edicts.
I don't think any of those police would probably accept that as a
Well, you know what's amazing?
if
In
they
the
want.
town I live in, we were having an anti-mask event at our park last fall, and there was some Karens in there that called the cops on us. And the
Yeah.
cops came and they said, "Hey, we just want to let you know we got a call that we don't care what you're doing. We hate masks. We know that they're nonsense. We will never arrest anyone in this town for wearing a mask. And can I have a donut?" They hung out with us, talked conspiracy theories for half an hour, and then they left.
So the cops showed up with no mask on?
No masks.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you must live in a place that's...
there are a lot of people hate the police. Well, there's a lot of bad police out there, but there's also good police.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yes. You can't let the apple spoil the bunch, I would say. Or let
so why the lie?
Apples.
So right now, the reason they're getting away with this nonsense is because people are lost in space, spinning out of control. They have no idea where they are, who they are, what they are, or the power of their minds. They believe that they live on a spinning speck flying through an infinite vacuum, which is insane. It makes no sense whatsoever. They believe that an asteroid could take them out at any time, which is a fear that was put into you in first grade when the teacher taught you about dinosaurs and the asteroids, right? So that's a core fear. They believe that they're running out of food or running out of dinosaur juice for our cars. We're nuclear bombs are going to take us out. The giant volcano is going to blow up the earth. Volcanoes, another friggin' lie. Okay. All of this stuff is fear, and when you're in fear, you lose your true power. You lose your power. The truth is, we are here on Earth in this realm, experiencing this amazing amusement park. I'll call it an amusement park because I don't know what else to call it. And we're having a soul's journey. Our soul is literally a piece of God or the Creator, whatever you want to call it. And our goal here, our only goal, is to maintain control of our soul and not sell it or lose it. And The only laws that you have to obey are, universal law, God's law, whatever you want to call it, which is don't kill anybody, don't break their free will, help your neighbor. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't steal from anybody. And that's it. But when people live in fear, they're very controllable. Okay. And then the thing is, if you knew that there was more beyond Antarctica, that this world was more, that you are a powerful being, you would never listen to any of these edicts, as you put it. Right? You wouldn't listen to any of it. But the fear in your mind, and you obey in your mind. There's so many things that people just do because they believe that someone has authority over them. So they put a fence around us that we can't see, and that's called the globe. Right? If they put you in a park that had a fence around it that was 5,000 miles around, one day you're going to see that fence and you're going to go, I want to go to the other side of that fence.
Yeah.
Even though you haven't even explored the whole park. You want to know what's on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Well, your ball would go over it,
Yeah.
5,000 miles, and it would still go over the fence.
Yeah. So of course, even if you, no matter where you
happens.
are. And so they put us on a ball. I mean, the True Man show, remember the True Man show? Right? What did he say? I want to be an explorer. What did his teacher say?
Oh, I don't remember.
Said, Truman, there's nothing else to explore. Right? And that's it. Right? We're in our world. So they've literally put us our minds in a prison.
So who's,
because good.
I was just going to say, who's us? Yeah. Who's they?
Us, we're the peasants.
Right.
They are the bloodlines that have been running this world for I don't know how long. They're the royal families. They're the people that run the Bilderbergs, the Council of Foreign Relations, the UN. I don't know what you want to call them. You could sum it all up and say the Illuminati, but I don't even know if that's that's just a name, right? These are the people that are running this world, the people in the know. And how they got into power, that's a whole nother discussion.
Do you think that they're reptilian aliens?
No.
Okay.
I believe that they probably have lost control of their souls, and they have no empathy, and they don't care. And when you lose control of your soul, you really have nothing to live for. So you will do anything for immediate gratification, right? But the people that that know the rules of this world, they don't want to break free will. They don't want to break anyone else's free will because they know the karmic impact that it has on them.
Now, Dave, we're not we don't. I guess we kind of ride the midline of a lot of things because obviously everything is nuanced and has a lot of has multiple facets to it. So something that you mentioned was just God, creator, all these things.
Sure.
Do you have a like religious stance that you discuss within this?
Well, when you look at Flat Earth, there's a lot of Christians in Flat Earth, but there's a lot of Christians everywhere. Grab a group of over random 100 people, and there'll be a lot of Christians in that group. Flat Earth is 100% not a religious thing. Okay. Before I discovered Flat Earth, I was a full-on card-carrying atheist, I guess. I never really thought about it because, I would be listening to an awesome podcast on finance, on health, on conspiracy theories. I'm like, these guys are awesome. I got 3 pages of notes. And then they bring up the Bible, or they say a prayer, or they bring up the Quran. And I rip out the pages, I unsubscribe, and I never listen to them again. Even though the content that they were giving me had nothing to do with that, I would just throw it out. They're religious fanatics. So when I discovered I believe that, we came from monkeys. Well, but why are monkeys still here? And then when I understood that the heliocentric model is nonsense, and if you break down the word, sin is sinister, helio, sinister trick, soul, lure system. I'm like, that's weird. There's too many coincidences there. And when I realized that this world is intelligently designed, there's no chance that a Big Bang could create it. So there has to be a creator. Boom. That's where I stop.
Okay.
There's a creator. Okay. I don't even want to say God, because you can call it whatever you want. God has so many, if you say God, people think, oh, you're talking Jesus, you're talking Muhammad, I'm talking somebody created this place, period. And it's created for us.
Do you have a theory on who created the creator?
I have no idea. You kidding me? Do you?
Just
it must
curious.
be the Jews.
Yeah. The Rothschilds. Okay. So my follow-up to that is, when you look historically, you know, as you said, it's not really flat Earth, but just that's what it's colloquially referred to as. In the days before like Copernicus or I guess it would be Pythagoras back in the day, they had
You
the
ever meet
flat
those
Earth
guys?
model. What's that?
Did you ever meet those guys?
I did, yeah. I talked to them. They were great. Yeah, they're
You did.
really into this
So
stuff.
do you know his story is made up by the victors, the
Sure,
rulers of the world. So
absolutely. Okay,
we don't.
but
Go ahead.
my thing about it is so the church said that Galileo was a heretic, and he was the Earth around the sun, and obviously any of this could be BS because, like you say,
All of it.
it's written by whoever wants you to believe whatever you want.
Right.
That's a very difficult position to, I guess, defend and lay forth because obviously we could speculate all day, but I guess from what I've been told to know,
Yes.
Pythagoras
Told to
and
believe.
Copernicus
Told to
and
believe.
Galileo and all these guys,
Aristophanes, maybe.
were then what heretics and in their time and that sort of thing. So I just wonder, like, let's say that everybody was like, hey, the Earth is flat. That's cool. We know this. I don't know. Maybe they were allowed to go to Antarctica and go wander beyond the fence
There's maps of Antarctica with no ice on it and all sorts of stuff there. But
from the
every
olden days.
single civilization before us, as you're
Oh.
talking about, was flat, except this one religious one here called NASA.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering how the church kind of plays into this, because obviously the church has also been a means of controlling people through
100%.
time.
Very good.
And so was it okay, do you believe that the Bible is a means of control, or because I think it's both,
I don't. You know what? I don't like referring to the Bible. My co-host on the
Okay.
Flat Earth podcast, Matt Long, he's a staunch Bible guy, and it's amazing the stuff he comes up with. So I never lead with a Bible proof,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, hey, boom, 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 a dome, and page 1 in the Bible talks about separating the waters from the waters with the firmament, right?
Yep.
And then you talk about Werner von Braun. He the German
Good guy.
Nazi scientist,
V2 rockets, yeah.
yeah,
Gyroscopes.
that took over NASA, right? On his gravestone, it says Psalm 19:1 on it, which is talking about the firmament above us.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He was also a Nazi, though.
He
So
was also a
there's that.
Nazi, but
Yeah.
why is the rocket scientist? Why does his gravestone talk about the Psalms 19:1?
Mhm. And what does that mean to you? So will you explain the firmament to me?
Well, the
'Cause I'm not
firmament would
familiar.
be the dome above us.
Okay.
As I'm stalling here because
Yeah. What's it?
I'm-
Break loose the surly bonds of Earth.
it says it talks about the water, the firmament separating the waters above from below.
Yeah.
I had the quote somewhere, but now
Yeah.
it's missing.
No, that's interesting. I just haven't heard.
I think
not
it,
familiar with
and then it says in there somewhere, and God called it the heavens.
Right.
Mhm. And I'd brought this up before, but Rob Bell, he's a Christian dude, and he was saying that, like, people are the connection between the heavens and the earth, where everything is terrestrial and we are spiritual and terrestrial, where no other beings are, no other terrestrial
Right.
creatures.
Oh, here it is. It says Psalms 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. That's his gravestone, right? Is that a revelation of the method where they always have to tell us what they're doing, or is that a deathbed confession? Somehow he got it there. I mean, I think it's that they want to tell us because how easy would it be to remove his gravestone? I don't know.
Yeah. So I have a question. One of the things that always made me, I've met a couple flat earthers and throughout the years, and there is a mathematical equation, I guess you'd call it, basically, and I don't know what it is, but per every
Curvature
square
formula?
I don't know, for every square or for every mile the earth should
8
drop.
inches per mile squared.
Okay. So for
Yeah.
every mile, the Earth should be dropping 8 inches.
Per mile squared. Because if you think about it, the Earth is a ball, right? The Earth is a ball. So
I love props.
we got a
Yeah.
prop.
Hey,
So
Carrot Top.
as you go across, the drop goes faster, you know? So if I go out a mile and it's just this amount of drop, if I go out 2 miles, it's this amount of drop.
Okay.
Right? So it's 8 inches per mile squared. And we can see too far. That's the thing that got me. I was like, okay. I checked out the curvature formula. And first I said, I don't believe it. I don't believe that there's 6,600 feet of curvature at 100 miles. And I don't believe that there's 66 feet at only 10 miles. But according to Globe official math, at 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. So I bought a $900 Super Zoom P900 camera.
Okay.
Went to the beach, sat down at the water's edge on a calm morning, and I said, I know that buoy is 11 miles offshore. I should not be able to see it. And I couldn't see it without the camera. Zoomed in, there's the entire buoy, top to bottom. Worse than that, I can see the surface of the water for dozens of miles beyond the buoy.
So
But
then
you were wearing a mask though when you went to the beach.
Pre-COVID.
Okay. Oh,
So then I have a question here from one of our viewers, Corey, and he says, why can we not see ships past the quote vanishing point with powerful telescopes? It says with an infinitely powerful telescope, you should be able to see ships anywhere in the world. Why is this not the case?
False. All right. So first, here we go. We have an empty horizon, and we look out there. All of a sudden, there's a boat. So I'm going to zoom all the way into the boat,
Okay.
and then I'm going to zoom out. And when I zoom out, it's equivalent to the boat going away. So you can see the entire side of the boat.
Yeah.
Right. And so as I zoom out, the boat
part of it's
bottom will
underwater.
disappear first. See, the bottom's gone. It's up to the window. Boom. The whole hull is gone.
Interesting.
And now the boat's gone. Now, a Glober would say it went over the horizon.
Okay.
But it didn't. It's just going. It's just its angular size becomes too small to see. So,
Right, because if it went under the horizon, you wouldn't be able to zoom into it to begin with.
correct. Like if I went around this hallway and you were standing right here, could you zoom in if you had a telescope?
No.
You couldn't see me,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm around the corner. If I flip this over and make it like the Earth, if I went over that hump, you zoomed in, this is a physical horizon right here.
Mhm.
And no matter how, if I gave you the Hubble telescope, which is also fake, you couldn't zoom in. You couldn't zoom in and see me, correct?
Yeah,
Because
correct.
that's a physical horizon. So the question is, how come we can't see Mount Everest, right? There's a couple reasons. One, the angular size of things gets so small, but when you zoom in, like the sky touches the ground, you know, at just 25 miles away, the cloud deck literally touched. I'm looking out over the water towards New York City, 25 miles away, and the clouds literally touch the water,
Okay.
right? But if I zoom in with a camera, I could open up and see what's in there.
Okay.
But my eyes can't see it alone because it's compressed into, it's just the way our eyes work.
Okay.
All right. So where's I going with this? I had a good point. Oh yeah. So why can't we see forever? And why can't we see, you know, all the way to Mount Everest? So this is a famous spot in Illusia, France, where not Illusia, France, yeah. Where they look out over the ocean, and Mount Canigou is out here, which is 175 miles away.
Okay.
And if you use the curvature calculator, which shows you, so you list your viewing height and the distance, the very top of Mount Canigou would be a mile. The highest point of Mount Canigou would be a mile below a physical curve. So is this the physical curve of a ball planet, or is this just perspective? And why can't we see Mount Canigou? Well, Mount Canigou, you couldn't see it at nighttime because it's dark. You can see it during the day. You can see anything during the day because light is hitting it, bouncing off of it, and going to your eyes. Well, the light bouncing off of a mountain or a house or anything is just reflected light. It's not as bright. The brightest light is the sun. Okay.
Mhm.
So the sun is that the light off the mountain is unable to push to your eyes, but the sun is way more powerful and it could push farther. So on 2 days a year, the sun lines up with Mount Canigou and it backlights it and you can see it. Not only can you see the top of the mountain, right where the mouse is, you can see it all the way to the bottom.
It looks like
The
a scene
top
from
of
The
that
Lion
mountain
King.
should be a mile below the curvature,
Hmm.
but it's right there.
So
but
then,
you can't see it. So 175 miles, you can't see 175 miles. Now we have infrared, where you can go burn through some of that haze. We're seeing things of 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away from some elevation, and there should be 80, 90 miles of curvature, and we're seeing things. There's no curvature.
I have a pilot friend and he flies jets and he says that he
Yep.
has seen the curvature of the earth.
Yeah, he thinks he has. So let me explain exactly what he's seeing.
Okay.
So the higher up you are, the farther you can see, because you're increasing your angular size to something so you can see farther, right?
Sure.
Like, and you can do experiments yourself at home, but I'll show you. So the way our eyes see, so imagine you're on a tiny little island. There's no trees. You're in the middle of the ocean. It's dead calm. Okay. Dead calm. And the weather conditions are exactly the same, 365 degrees around, which never really happens, but you have the same visibility. Whatever distance it is to where the sky converges, where your eye can't see any farther, whether it's 30 miles, whether it's 10 miles, whether it's 100 miles, it doesn't matter. You can see the same distance in all directions. So I'm looking forward. We'll call that 12 o'clock, right?
Okay.
Let's say I could see 100 miles, just for a number. At 1 o'clock, I can see 100 miles. At 2 o'clock, I can see 100 miles, correct?
Sure.
At 3 o'clock, I can see 100 miles. So here I am standing here, and I look. This is the limit of my vision, okay?
Okay.
I can see the same distance in all directions. This is not a theory. This is a fact, okay? So then if we flip that on its side, this is my horizon right here.
Interesting.
I see the same distance in all directions. And if you put a line on it, a glober will tell you that you're seeing Earth curve. You're seeing vision curve, because right here, this part of the line right here is farther than this part of the line right here.
Right.
Right? We see in a circle, they'll tell you this is curved. But here's the thing that they don't get. If you're on the top of a ball, you don't see that kind of curvature, because if you see that kind of curvature, you have to follow that line around. And by the time you get behind you, you'll be pointing at the floor, when in fact, you're seeing the same distance. You see a level circle around you if you're on a ball.
Okay.
So there is no left to right curvature if you're on a ball. That's impossible. But this is how you see. It's so simple.
Interesting.
We've been so brainwashed into believing utter nonsense that people just can't see it.
Now, what about things like satellites and, I brought up the space station right off the bat, and I think you kind of, scoffed or, just,
yeah.
Yeah. So what's your...
So go, if you just Google photos of satellites in space, you'll quickly realize that there's not a single photo of satellite in space.
Well, they're
just
the ones
cartoons.
that take the pictures.
What's that?
They're the ones that take the pictures, aren't they? Like the Hubble?
Yeah. Well, high altitude airplanes take the pictures. I mean, if you look at, this is the blue marble. It's on everyone's iPhone when they first came out, and you can see that it's Photoshop. They use clone stamps of the clouds. Okay. These are the two pictures of Earth, different size United States. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Mexico's pretty hung on that second one.
No shit. Speaking of Mexico, look at this. So you look at Mexico, and this is something we can't verify anything NASA says, but we can verify this picture because we can drive across Mexico, get a distance. We can take a boat that goes, 20 miles an hour and see how long it takes to go across the bay. And then we could drive across Baja, and we come up with 934 miles. NASA, liars, say that the diameter of Earth is 7,917 miles. I should be able to fit 8.5 of these segments right here. 8.5 doesn't even fit on this page. Right? I can probably fit 3.5, if that. So
yeah, but
either the Earth is tiny, half the continents don't exist, right? Because all of these continents, have to be on the other side of that ball.
So what were you just saying about that, though?
I'm saying either me or.
I was saying, well, the equator goes up 14 miles, though.
Yeah.
So then it would make the belly of the world fatter.
I just want my listeners to know, the people that come listen to this, that Stephen is just playing devil's advocate here.
Absolutely.
Stephen secretly told me before the show that he's a full-on flat earther.
Absolutely.
And
yep, I'm a plant. By
And
big flat
he's
Earth.
just trying to ask some questions to keep the show interesting.
Totally.
So,
It's a comedy program, so you got to throw the jokes in about Mexico being hung. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. And so, what? I guess we can see things in the sky, so we can see like Elon Musk. He's got his
Elon Musk. We could see him in the sky.
Well,
We could see his Tesla in the sky. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch it, but I'm aware of it. Yes, he said.
Well, see, that's the thing. People didn't watch it and they believe it. Not that you believe it, but this is the footage of the Tesla in space. Okay. Right. Tell me why this coming up shot. I'll say when. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now. How come that shot isn't in every single Tesla dealership? Right? It shouldn't that be a poster in every Tesla dealership? This car went to Mars. Right? There's not a single photo of it in any dealership, not on a postcard, not on any magazine cover, Omni, National Geographic, Time, Newsweek, nothing. They didn't put any of it out there because it looks so fake. Elon at the conference said, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. We'd have better CGI. He said that.
He did throw a brick through his own window in a demo, so I kind of believe him. He's willing to sabotage his own stuff.
So what are those things that we see going across the sky at night that are supposedly satellites, and why can we track them on satellite trackers?
Are they illegal?
Well, there
aliens?
are luminaries in the sky that travel across our sky. The planets, the things that we call planets, used to be called wandering stars, and but they changed them to planets. This is the planet Capella. Is that Capella? Yeah, Capella.
It's beautiful.
Looks like a party.
Yeah, when you zoom in, it's amazing, right? And here is Arcturus, right? This is one of my favorites. This is a really bright star in the sky. When you zoom in on it, this is what it is. It's within the Earth system. I don't believe it's a physical thing. And they're all named after demigods, all the planets. So, what's up with that? What are they? So they have a predictable pattern that they fly in the sky. This is Sirius. And we know exactly where they're going to be because they do their predictable course. You know that all the stars, you go out tonight, look at the stars, next year, same time, same night, they're in the exact same position. All of the planets can be predicted where they're going. All of the eclipses repeat every 18 years. Okay.
So then are the planets, the moon, the sun, or, stars, quote unquote, are they just flying around in a circle, or do they actually go over the flatness of the Earth?
Everything, the Earth is the basement of the universe.
Okay.
Of the world. And everything that we see is in the sky that circles above us. Can you guys enable screen sharing for me? Oh no, it's my Zoom.
I was going to say, yeah.
Myself.
Yeah.
Let me show you have you guys seen my app?
No.
So I created an app because all of this stuff is being censored on YouTube, where you can't really see. If you search flat Earth, you're going to get propaganda. You say, hey, top 10 reasons that the Earth is flat. You're going to get top 10 reasons the Earth is a globe.
So we should put anti-flat Earth as a tag, not.
Well, you're gonna get nonsense. But so I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to show you guys where I don't want anybody to believe me. I want people to go check it themselves. The problem is people don't know where to check, what to check for, because they have these beliefs. Hey, boats go over the curve, therefore the Earth is a ball. So if the Earth was a ball, sure, boats would go over the curve. But there's plenty of explanations of how, and provable, testable, repeatable explanations on how they appear to disappear from the bottom up, and how we can see too far. That literally eliminates the ball right there. So then
the sun. Go ahead.
No, you first.
I was just going to say, so then the sun is only shining on half of the flat Earth at a time.
Well, right now, if you look at the day-night split, it is about half and half.
Okay.
And the optics of that are a little more not confusing, but they're much more interesting. And the light has to do with the dome. So imagine a dome around the edge of this pond here, like on the outside of that white area. Okay.
Okay.
So that's where the dome would terminate, perhaps. And there's tons of videos that will show you how that works. So right now the sun is the hour hand, but if you look, the sun's not pinned to the hour hand. Can you tell me why that is?
I sure can't.
Well, it just happened here in the United States. They implemented daylight savings time.
Oh.
Daylight savings time is the dumbest thing ever. Okay. It's like, hey, my quilt isn't long enough, so I want to cut off a foot at the bottom and sew it to the top. And now my quilt will be longer. Okay.
I mean,
The
but
dumbest thing ever.
you get to stay up later.
But
so that's
yeah.
nice. The weather's
Well,
nicer.
you know what? Just change work hours. Don't change the time.
There you go.
right?
We'll just change it all for you, Dave.
Yeah, and our bodies are connected to the sky clock and the rhythms of our body, and they throw us off twice a year. They move it forward and back. So the clock is showing you what time they want you to think it is, but really when it's 2:00, it's really 1:00.
Are you saying
So-
big melatonin plays a role in this?
Absolutely, all of this stuff, all of nature and all of the chemicals in our body, it's all part of this earth system. And they're trying to, hey, take this petroleum product. This will fix everything. Let me stick these aborted baby fetal cells into your body because that's going to make you stronger.
I am pro lubricant, so let's not besmirch oil products.
All right. So the sun keeps track of the hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It will lap the moon once every 28 days. It'll speed it up. And you'll see that it's gaining distance on the moon. So the phases of the moon and the position of the moon keep track of the hours. I mean, the weeks and the months. They used to be 13 months, but they changed it to 12 months. And the months were about 28 days.
So
Okay.
this and I don't want to interrupt you, but while I'm thinking about it, this is always fascinating me too. How is it that we can see the moon in the sky at the same time as the sun and it have a crescent?
Yeah. So look at it right now. So this is right where we are. This is later today because I'm moving forward here.
Mm-hmm.
The moon is right near the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Its moon is right near the sun. Now, is the sunlight lighting the moon? I don't think so. I think the sun, I'll get into it after this, but the sun is electric in nature. Okay.
Okay.
And it's fluorescing the moon. It's powering the moon, in my opinion. It's part of the Earth battery system, but I'll show you a graphic on that as soon as I'm done with this.
Okay.
Right. So if I turn on the stars are on another wheel in the sky that's turning.
Okay.
Okay. And right now, if you look, the sun is just exiting Pisces and moving into Aries. And the way it's moving into Aries is it's not moving backwards. The zodiac wheel is spinning slightly faster than the sun. So it will lap the sun once a year. Okay. So you have 12 zodiacs. That means that the sun will be in each zodiac for about a month. Right.
Okay.
So Aries is catching up to the sun right now. So the sun is moving into Aries. And then in another, 30 days or so, what was that? Aries and the bull.
Oh,
What's the bull?
Taurus.
Taurus. Okay. Yeah. It'll move into Taurus. And so that keeps track of the seasons and the years. So here's the challenge I have for everybody. Well, before I do that, and here's how compass works. North is in the center. South is every direction away from the center. East and west are circles around the center. So, and a way to do this for yourself, get a compass and a magnet, put it down on the table. The magnet will point towards the compass will point towards the magnet, and try to push that compass east or west. And what you'll notice is you have to keep correcting to the north, and you have to make a circle around the north. Go outside, point to a tree with one arm, and point straight forward with the other arm. Your left arm, pointing to the tree is pointing to the North Pole. So that's your north. And so try to walk 90 degrees to that, and you have to walk a circle around that tree. Okay. East and west are circles. Doesn't prove the earth is flat because it's the same on a ball earth. Okay. But we'll get into that next. So every day there's a new video down here, a featured video of the day, short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. And I challenge anybody that thinks flat earth is the dumbest thing on earth, because I did, to watch the video every day for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have one proof of the globe, send it to me and I'll give you a Bitcoin, full Bitcoin.
Okay.
All right.
But
Before you do it, you have to hit this question mark button right here. And when you hit that, up come all of the questions that you're going to ask. Hey, what about eclipses? Hey, what about southern flights? What about circumnavigation, which we just went over? What about seasons? What about gravity? If you hit what about gravity, up comes a playlist of videos that YouTube, Google will not serve you. These ones will explain how things are held to Earth, why gravity, the theory of gravity, is complete and total nonsense. Right?
Can you watch the George Clooney, Sandra Bullock movie Gravity?
Yeah, well, I mean, they do a better job than NASA does, is with their floating in the space station and stuff.
Yeah.
So again, the app has a ton of stuff. It has these pictures like, hey, did we really go to the moon in this? Did we really go
I
into the
don't
moon?
think we went to the moon.
Well, look at this. Come on. This looks like a spaceship, doesn't it? Made out of what?
Wasn't it
Paper
aluminum?
mache,
Yeah.
aluminum foil, some curtain rods, some zip ties, Scotch tape, maybe a little masking tape.
I mean,
right?
duct tape, probably.
I don't even think they use duct tape. Maybe there's some duct tape right there. Yeah.
If it made it to the moon, I'm sure they did.
This is what they want us to believe.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely.
Again, tons of pictures and stuff. Here, about the Earth battery. The moon is the anode, the sun is the cathode, the land is the salt bridge, and the salt water is the electrolyte that carries the fluid, that carries the energy. And the Earth is this battery system. So it's just this electrical system. The only forces on this Earth are electricity and magnetism.
Okay.
And it's the energy from the sun and the moon that make the tides in the salt water, not the fresh water. There's no freshwater tides.
What about like Tesla? Where does he kind of fall into all this?
You mean Elon Musk?
Sure. Either, I'm just wondering where how you believe, what you think of him and his work and
yeah. So Elon is the CEO of the largest tunneling company in the world.
I mean Nikola Tesla.
Oh, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
He is from Tataria, as far as I'm concerned. He's a leftover from the Tatarian Empire, which is a worldwide civilization that was here into the late 1800s, before some cataclysm happened. And he had the secrets of, how they built these megalithic pyramids. And he was involved with the World's Fairs and was showing how everything is done with free energy. And then, JP Morgan and the other bankers got involved and said, no free energy. We can't let them have that. And they literally hijacked our world and put us in a prison for our minds. So,
I've done some research on him with oscillations and things, and he was talking about, sending oscillations through the Earth to power things far away, and then also getting a cosmic generator, basically, that like the cosmic waves would vibrate and oscillate and create energy, I guess.
Yeah. Study Tesla, energy and frequency. Everything's all about that. So again, the only true forces here on Earth are electricity and magnetism. Just real quick note, you mentioned Tesla. I thought you were talking about Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Werner von Braun in the 1950s wrote a book called Project Mars about a group of people that went to populate Mars. And the leader of that group, his name was Elon.
Ooh, interesting.
And so this is the rocket that Elon is taking people to Mars in.
Do you think that so he's like a government plant, like a Illuminati plant?
I think he's completely mind controlled, lobotomized, moron. I don't think he runs any companies. He's the CEO of the largest tunneling company, the largest solar company. He took over NASA, the largest electric car company. I think there's one more. No human being could do all of that. It's impossible. Okay. And if you watch the rocket launches and landings, have you watched any of them? Just look up the latest SpaceX rocket launch and landing. It's literally a grain silo. It's the dumbest thing. And as a matter of fact, Elon tweeted today, this is what they showed us as a live rocket launch. It's so fake that a 2-year-old would look at it and go, this is not real. And Elon tweeted today, he said, they really tried hard. Hold on, I want to get the exact quote. He said they really tried. Where is it? Elon Musk tweeted about what they showed us as a live launch. He wrote, the simulation really struggled to make this look real. Ha ha.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I think he
Yeah.
might have a sense of humor like mine. That might be it.
I think it's
If it is
damage
real. Yeah.
control or the revelation of method. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Returning to the scene of the crime,
Yeah.
admitting your crimes. I
Hey, so
think
we were talking before about these famous people in the past that discovered the heliocentric model. And one of them, one of the biggest ones that was brought up, is the story of Eratosthenes, who did the sticks and shadows experiment in ancient Greece,
yeah,
and he calculated the size of the Earth,
by the
and then
7 degrees.
within 2%, and then Carl Sagan in Cosmos really sent that story to the masses. You guys, you both familiar with that story?
I am not.
Yeah, what was it? There was at noon on the solstice, there was no shadow, and so a distance away, it was
There was a shadow,
a
and
seven
so Carl
inch.
Sagan had a piece of two towers, and he said only when you bend it, right, can one have a shadow if the sun is, because they assume the sun is coming in parallel rays. They assume the sun is coming in parallel rays. So the first question I have to Eratosthenes back then is,
You bet him.
whatever
Turned it
made
around
you
again.
assume that the sun comes in parallel rays when we've never ever seen the sun come in parallel rays? Trying
Well,
to
it's
find a
a
picture, of
wave and
course.
a particle. Do you believe that sun or that light is a wave and a particle, or
Cool story, bro. Yeah.
I don't
So
think
when
you
you
get to do that. You have
look at
slides.
sun rays coming in, they always come in like this. It's
Okay.
kind of like you follow them up. It's like, well, the sun's kind of right there.
Mm-hmm.
And on a flat Earth, you have no shadow, and you have a shadow, right? If you look at it, this is his experiment. He did this. He measured this angle. He knew the distance, and he did a calculation that calculated the sphericity of the ball. But on a flat Earth with a small local sun, you get the same exact angles. So you can do the same equation, and it'll tell you the sphericity of this flat surface. We don't live on a math equation. There's so many false presumptions. It's amazing.
Interesting.
So then the Earth doesn't have a bottom side to it. It's just like it's the end all be all of our universe. Is that how that works?
I only need 7 slides, I realized. The deepest hole ever dug is 7.5 miles, just over 7.5 miles.
Okay.
And they use ground penetrating radar to go in to figure out what they're going to be hitting next. And guess what? The ground penetrating radar gave them false answers every step of the way. So they should have gotten their money back, but they didn't, because governments like to spend money. So in comparison, it's like, hey, we got this apple, we don't know what's inside of it, so we're going to drill halfway through the skin, and our prediction method was wrong every step of the way. And then halfway through the skin, we hit an impenetrable barrier. We couldn't get through it for years. Nothing we could do could go through this impenetrable barrier. But somehow we know what's at the center 4,000 miles away. Okay. We couldn't predict the first 7.5 miles, but we now know what's in the center. And they tell us that the center is a molten magnetic core. Well, that's just more mockery in our face, because when you heat a magnet, there's a thing called the Curie point. Before it even melts, it loses all of its magnetism. So how do you have a molten metal magnetic core? They're just seeing how stupid we are, right? They have there's a stupid ID system that they implemented last year.
Yeah.
It's everybody has to have their stupid. If they're stupid,
star
they have to wear
ID
their
or
stupid
whatever.
ID.
Yeah.
And you wear it on your face. Okay.
Oh.
A mustache.
Yes, a mustache. There you go.
So then I know earlier you were talking about, do you not believe in, what do you think of volcanoes?
So there is this one was really hard for me. There's no such thing as a cone-shaped mountain spewing lava out of the top. You've only seen it in movies. Okay.
What
Now
about
there
Mount
is
St.
lava.
Helens?
No, Mount St. Helens was an explosion. I think that was actually done as a weapon. It could have been a natural thing, but it wasn't a lava event. It was an explosion with ash, and maybe there was some.
There was some lava, because I saw
there was some lava,
it.
but it's not coming out of the top of a mountain. That was a totally different thing. I think it might have been something that they, a directed energy weapon that they were testing, maybe they used it later in 2001. Who knows? So what is lava? a lava, how can you make lava? You get some rocks, put them in this ceramic thing here, add a ton of electricity to it, a bolt of electricity through it, and those rocks will melt and turn into lava. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So electricity. So remember, we're talking about how the earth is this battery.
Mm-hmm.
The earth is a giant battery. The sun is sending electricity to earth. That's why solar panels work. Scientists don't know how solar panels work because they can't figure it out. They just somehow work. It's because they don't know that the sun is like a Tesla coil sending electricity, and the solar panels are collecting that electricity and running it into a current. That's all it is. So the earth is a giant capacitor, and it has these different places where the capacity builds up. Hawaii, there's lots of capacity there, if I'm saying this right. And those capacitors will send energy between them, and that electricity will create what's called a lava tube.
Okay.
And so that's where lava comes from. It goes through lava tubes, and that's where the electricity is running through the earth at such high voltage, ampage, whatever it is. And I always defer to the gentleman that made me my this graphic. The channel name is LC King. He's from Australia, and he will explain the whole Earth galvanic battery system better than I can. So,
okay,
Interesting.
There you go.
And I've actually been in a lava cave. Is that similar to a
lava
tube?
It's a lava tube, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, you could kind of go through these chambers underneath the earth. Like there was like a little ladder that went down in there, and then people spray paint and drink booze down there.
Those are lava tubes.
It's very nice. It's nature's beauty.
Yeah.
With all the graffiti.
So again, we were talking about what are those things that we see in the sky. We don't know. There could be some human technology up there. They also could be other energetic things that are happening in our sky. The position of the planets. I always said, how does Mars in retrograde affect me? That little rock 25 million miles away can't even affect our tides. How's it going to affect me? But the truth is, it's here within the Earth system, and it's directly connected to me. Right?
Interesting. So do you believe in astrology?
I used to laugh at astrology. I took 4 years of astronomy in college, and I was the man. I knew my stuff. And now that I look back, it's all pseudoscience. None of it is real. And astrology is the real science.
What did you take in school? What was your...
I was psychology and marketing are my two majors.
Okay. So, and then when did you end up getting into flat Earth? What was the point of like, this is a thing I'm passionate about? Because obviously you're driven to.
I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I want to isolate myself from all my friends and family. Yeah. And I'm going to come out publicly and say that the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
And, and I couldn't wait to do it. And, it's like, it's the best thing ever.
How many shows have you done? Because obviously you get out there and you're
close to my 200th interview right now. Maybe more.
Probably top 5, I'd say. Yeah. But I
lost track. I have my YouTube playlist, and I do lots that are not on YouTube, but my YouTube playlist is, I don't know, close to 175 or 200.
Okay.
I don't know.
And what's your channel if people want to check you out? Do you want to?
So my YouTube channel is DITRH. It's just the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
Okay.
And I have 191 YouTube interviews, and not even all on there. And then I have tons that are not on interviews. So I'm probably closer to 250, maybe even more.
And for anyone watching, you can see it in the comments. You can find his information.
But the best way to find me is get the app. So that's it. He's selling an app, $3, $2.99. Sure. That's all about the money. I had my own business with a couple partners. Life was amazing, and I was making tons of money, and I literally walked away from it all. And I had made this app, and the app is, if you're unsure about the app, just go check it out in the App Store. On Google Play, you need 8.0 operating system or higher, an iPhone 6 or better, an Apple, and just read the reviews. You'll see that it's not a ripoff, and it's the best. It's the best way to learn about flat Earth because it bypasses YouTube's algorithms. It gives you all the tools that you need.
Yeah.
And every day there's a new video that comes up. And so just watch that one video a day. And then if you can't wait, hit the archive button right next to that, and you get all the videos from all of the months from all the previous years. So it's all there.
And I think
And
that's great because you
it'll
can get
wake you up.
things that you aren't available to you. Like you said, you're curating,
Right.
you know, these topics and these videos that if you're curious about, and that's one of the things I like about Flat Earth, is one of the things you brought up several times is like I don't really know, but it could be, or
Yeah.
this, or
But there's
that.
plenty
And
that we do know. There's plenty that we can explain.
yeah,
You know, we can see too far, and you can't. There's no experiment ever that shows high pressure next to no pressure or low pressure without a physical barrier. And you can't say gravity because, you know, if the second floor of your home, you had a vacuum chamber up there with a hose going down through your ceiling, if you open that valve, whoosh, all the air is going to equalize instantly.
Mhm.
Okay. That's pulling it up and away from gravity.
I was
Right.
just going to ask you about gravity.
Yeah. So gravity is this. So and again, in the app, hit the gravity button. There's a great explanation, but I'll spell it out. So the Earth has a testable, measurable, scientifically observable negative charge to it. And I believe that's coming from, you know, it's part of this battery system. The Earth has a negative charge to it. When you leave the Earth, when you're above the Earth, there's voltage in the air, and it goes up 100 volts at a meter, 200 volts at 2 meters, and it goes up from there. And when you're separated from the Earth, you have a positive charge to you, and that negative charge is a weak force attracting it, just like they say gravity is a weak force. Okay. And so when you so it says, hey, down is down for me here, down is down for someone in Australia here. It's not up. That's not down. This is down. Down is down for everybody. Up is up for everybody. Left and right, forward and backwards are relative to wherever you are. You know, if I turn, my left just moved, my forward just moved, right? So then after that, buoyancy and density sort everything else out. So, you know, if I had a handful of, you know, marbles and ping pong balls and dropped them in the air over a pool, they'd both fall through the air because they're denser. The ping pong balls would sit on top of the water, and the marbles would go to the bottom because of density and buoyancy. And here's a little tinfoil triangle. They crank up the negative charge into it, and it floats. It goes up in the air because it's stronger than the Earth's negative charge. And so it's repelling itself from the Earth. Okay. And one of our guys did, what is this one? I don't know what this one is. Oh, that's different. So I was looking for a different video. So where's my gravity video? There it is. So this is one of our guys who got a Graaff generator. So creates a static charge, and he's got a metal plate here, and he's putting a negative charge into it. And when it gets it stronger than the Earth, things go up instead of remaining down because you're just outdoing the Earth's negative charge. And not just metal, but wood. He put hair, paper, anything. It changes the direction that things go. So he's not defying gravity. He's just electrostatic force.
I think this is the one thing I have the most difficulty, and obviously you run into people that have difficulty believing things, you know, I'm sure regularly.
Yeah.
But you know, with like moisture, so like I know that like with static in a shirt, obviously it clings to you, and then you spritz it with some water, and then it stops clinging to you. So like wouldn't a humid environment be less gravitationally forceful if it was
gravity is such a weak, the negative charge of the Earth is such a weak force, it really doesn't account for much of it. It's all buoyancy and density that do it. So if you cut the gravity in half or doubled it, you know, I say gravity, if you cut that negative charge in half or even doubled it, it wouldn't really change much because it's such a weak force. It's just saying, hey, down is this way. That's all it says. Down is this way.
And does anything have to do with like centrifugal or you know, what is it?
If we're spinning, shit would be flying off to the sides.
Yeah.
Okay. All of the, you know, the the water bulges 14 miles high at the equator, but the Maldives, you guys ever see the Maldives? Amazing beach islands, right? They're like a
Mm-mm.
foot above the water. Just look up the Maldives. They're in the middle of the Indian Ocean, right on the equator. Probably the most beautiful chain of flat islands where literally like the highest elevation is like 2 feet.
Hmm.
How is there 14,000 feet of bulge on these islands are sitting there? Are they sitting in the bulge? It's the dumbest crap ever. I mean, when I talk about this stuff, I'm like, how can people not see this? And it's because we've been trained not to look and not to be able to think. When you go to school, you are taught to memorize and regurgitate.
Mhm.
No original thought. Okay. And the people that memorize and regurgitate the best, they become the teachers of the next generation.
Mhm.
Well, the communists. And so do you have an image of this 14,000 foot, just
Of
like
course not, because there is no image of
all
it.
right. No, I just meant like some sort of a representation just so I could see exactly what you're
It's
talking about.
taller than Everest. Okay. The 14,000 foot is taller than Everest. So where's the best viewing spot, by the way, for that bulge? I don't know.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
we do have some questions from one of our viewers too. Can we throw
Shoot.
some at you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, what the shape of planets? So, is there what theories predict other shapes for planets? So, like how
Yeah. So first question I have is, you guys have lights in your ceiling right now where you are? Look up.
Mhm.
Any lights in the
Couple, yeah.
ceiling?
Yep.
Right. Stare at those lights.
Mm-hmm.
Stare at the lights and describe the shape of your floor based on those lights.
Well, I'd say it's
Okay.
probably
So-
flat.
So here I'm gonna show you 4 moons, and you have to answer real quick. Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
You have to say, is this spherical or not? Is this one spherical? Yes or no?
Circle.
Quick.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's a half a sphere, so
Oh,
you're
okay.
kind of half right. How about this one?
This
Spherical or
probably
not?
isn't a
Yes.
trick. Spherical.
Spherical. Looks spherical to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Must
That one's
be,
flat.
right?
Huh? It's painted.
It's flat.
Yep.
Okay, how about
Yep.
this one? Spherical or not?
They
Not.
did too good of a job.
I think
that
it's
one's
not.
a ball.
That one's a ball.
Yeah.
It's a cup. Okay.
Ooh.
So my point is,
Wait, is this some kind of trickery? Are you trying
no,
to
my
make us
point
look
is,
like
when we look
asses?
up at the sky, we're seeing things. We don't know what they are.
Yeah.
We don't know, what shape they are. We see these lights in the sky and we assume they're spheres because Disney and NASA told us they were spheres, right?
Uh-huh.
You're familiar with your planets, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Pluto.
Okay, so which planet is this?
Jupiter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gaseous.
It's Jupiter, or is it a meadow with ducks? Okay.
All right.
All right. So what I'm saying is, we see things because we want to see them.
Right.
You look up now. I want you to go out the next time there's a clear night and Mars or Jupiter's in the sky, and look at it and
See the
actually
ducks.
ask yourself, is that a terra firma ball spinning, reflecting light brighter than the sun? It can't reflect light brighter than the friggin' sun. It's as bright as the sun, right? If it's a dusty, dirty ball, like they tell us, that it wouldn't reflect light the way we see it. Did you guys watch the Mars lander the other day?
No.
No, but you
I
heard
just
about it,
believed
right?
it. Yeah.
I just
This
believe-
is
Yeah.
what they were all watching. This is what they showed us. This is the proof. This is them. Look at them. I got it sped up. This is
I mean, at least
the
they're
proof
masking.
that we landed on Mars.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, why
it
do
gets
we have
worse.
why do we have special effects that are so good in movies and yet this is what they're showing us from NASA?
That's a great question. And my answer is because they started out in the 60s with the moon landing being so horrible, they can't just upgrade it that fast.
Okay.
Like if
They
they
don't want to set
change
the
it.
bar too high.
And you know what? My co-host Jaron from Jaronism channel, he has a camera, a security camera outside his house, and it caught a car crash at the end of the block. And he
Uh-huh.
went out to check it out, and the car had taken off, and it's all the way down at the end of the block. And he goes to the person that was left there. He said, my camera caught it on video. I can give it to you if you want. They're like, oh, did it get the license plate? It was way down the block. And he goes, no, it's a NASA quality camera. And they're like, what? He's like, yeah, it's NASA quality, And he goes, like, oh, does that mean it's really good? He's like, no. Have you ever seen a NASA video?
Yeah.
When you look at NASA's videos, they have like a 4 megapixel camera, right?
So
That's like a good one for them, right? Get ready. This is exciting, right? So here's the question. This is obviously an animation. They never tell us it's an animation. This is what the whole world is watching. They wheeled screens into these kids' classes so they can watch this. Look at this serious. Look how serious she is. So
Do you think
important.
she's in on it, or do you think that they're lying to
So
her?
I think that she's either fresh out of space camp or in on it. Okay.
Mhm.
And they're all wearing double masks, so we can't even see their duping delight smiles anymore. We used to catch them smiling, right? Oh, did you see it landed in that nice square? Get ready. Camera, get ready. Ready? Yes. Yes. High five. Come on. High five. Yes.
All right.
Okay. This is all it takes is to convince people. So here's the question. The Globers will say, well, of course it's an animation. They're showing it. So, all right, it's an animation. So they're watching anxiously live.
Mhm.
So if it crashed, did they have an animation for that?
That's very interesting.
Okay.
I would totally play that by
Yeah.
accident.
Right. Wait, by the way, here's Mars. This is what Mars looks like through a P900 camera. That's not what NASA shows us.
Yeah, because we see those
That's the one you have?
pictures.
That P900?
Yeah, P900.
You see
And the
those
P1000.
pictures of the planets, and they're like super crystal clear. And then there's always this meme going around of like, pictures of the planets, and then pictures of a bank, camera, and it's all grainy as fuck. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
The joke is like, why do we have these amazing cameras that can see like all this, detail on Mars or Jupiter or whatever?
Right.
Well, I think with the animation, you could say, oh, video compression and how far the signal has to be sent and all that stuff.
You can make excuses for everything.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
It's unreal. This is the planet Jupiter. This is the actual picture that's in everyone's textbook, the famous picture from 2014.
With the ducks.
This storm right here is bigger than Earth. It's a hurricane. It's spinning, right?
Uh-huh.
So they tell us it's this gaseous planet. Here's a time lapse over a couple of hours or days, and you see these things are spinning, the clouds are changing, right? This is from NASA. This is off of NASA's website.
Okay.
You with me? So you have all of that, right? In 2014, they took this picture. 2.5 years later, they took this picture that said, we caught the northern lights on Jupiter.
That is
proves
ridiculous.
that there's a magnetic core in Jupiter, right? First, look at those northern lights. Thank you for laughing. Thank you. Okay. But if you overlay these, every single cloud, see this cloud?
Mm-hmm.
There it is right there. See this cloud?
Mm-hmm.
There it is right there. Every single dot is the same. Okay.
I mean,
every
they turned
single
up
one
the
is the same.
saturation a little bit.
Say that? One of them's lighter, one of them's darker. That's
they
it.
turned up the saturation and put a little spinny thing on the top.
Right.
I think they did great work. Whoever photoshopped that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you Google most recent picture of Pluto, this is the picture of Pluto, crisp and clear, full Pluto. And look, there's a desert that kind of looks like the dog Pluto.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Goofy movie, and yeah, it's kind of like that. So
and
Pluto's
wait,
no
they're
longer
mocking
a
us.
planet.
This is new Space Command, right? Pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. You think they primed us for that? Starfleet Command?
Yes. I mean, hey, I think Star Trek is great. The art. So, are you a Next Generation guy or a Deep Space Nine?
I grew up on Star Trek. I watched every episode, but there's a lot of truth in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the one with Kirk and where they went down to the planet and anything they thought became real, right? Anything they thought became real. Well, that's the world that we live in. Our thoughts create our reality, and the controllers want to keep us in a low vibration of fear where we can't manifest our reality. They want us to manifest their reality. They're mind controlling us with the news. They're steering our minds with the news, north, east, west, south. They're steering us.
So how many people do you actually think is in on this?
7.
Oh, right.
Really?
No.
Okay. I was like,
there's
wow,
a lot
that
of
was
people.
really good.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Again, it's a big question. I don't know. Maybe 1 million, maybe 5,000. I don't know. Maybe 5 million. I don't know. It's these people. When you asked me if I believe in reptiles, I believe that these people look at us as a different race. They have different genetics. The blue bloods, they've kept their DNA, not diluted. They haven't diluted their DNA. That's why they always sleep with their sister and cousin and whatever.
We're the
You know?
plebeians. The
Yeah.
plebs.
So
Yeah.
again, there's, you know, what the hell is going on with that? I don't know. How many people? I don't know. You know, and people like, you know, the astronauts, you know, the astro liars, I call them. They can never speak out because it would cost them too much, even on even deathbed confessions. Although there was a Russian astronaut last year or 2 years ago that was on a talk show, and he looked like he was having a bad day, and he said, "I assure you, no one's ever gone to space." He's like, you know, nobody's ever gone
Interesting.
to space.
Didn't Neil Armstrong punch a guy in the face for, you know, questioning whether or not he'd gone to the moon?
A
Yeah, Bart
journalist.
Sibrel offered him five. He said, just put your hand on the Bible, swear you went to the moon. I'll give you $5,000. You can give it to your charity. He had it in his hand, and he wouldn't do it because they don't want to swear on the Bible on something that's a complete and total lie.
And
right.
I think he did literally punch a journalist in the face.
That was him. He punched him in the face.
Oh, that was him. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, you know, I guess if it's your life's work, you know, in his defense.
No, it's his life's lie, and he didn't want to be cornered because, you know, if you look at if you ever watch the press conference after the moon landing when the guys came back, these guys just went to moon. They were the first ones ever to go to the moon. You know, they did all their stuff. They came back on an untested rocket and they lived. This is their press conference. If you watch the press conference, I mean.
And they
were so nervous. I mean, you can make excuses all day, but you know, these guys just did the most incredible thing ever, and they are like lying through their teeth.
Okay, I have a question. So you can actually, you know, supposedly watch astronauts in the, I don't know what it is, the spaceships or whatever, like floating around and doing flips and stuff. What's going on there?
Yeah, can you?
I don't know.
So they're always flipping something around. They're always playing with their microphones, right? Yep. So in the background, this guy goes floating by while they're flipping their hat around. I zoomed in.
Oh.
And look, they didn't green screen out the harness and the wire. He's hanging from a friggin' wire. All right.
I mean, they would tether you to something, but I doubt it would be the ceiling.
Yeah. And why are they always wearing these heavy cargo pants and belts on the space station, right? And these guys in the front, they have their little script, and they have either their contact lenses or they're looking at a screen beyond the camera. And he's flipping this hat around right here. And watch, I'll zoom out in a second. And he's supposed to pass the hat to the guy in the green shirt, but he moved his hand, and the guy thought that hat's not really there. It's called augmented reality. And look, he thought that was a hat, and he took it and he puts it away. And it wasn't there. He missed it because it's not there. They're just playing with it.
Right.
Yeah. And then here's another one. Over here, look, there's no stuffed animals. She's talking to kids. This is a kid's demonstration. And all of a sudden, there's that Paxi. Right?
What?
What? It's called augmented reality. They're manipulating things. She's either seeing it in contact lens and this is common technology where they're manipulating them in real time. So and we see, you know, she's in front of a green screen. She's not on the space station.
It's crazy to me that people would be on board with this, though.
Well, you know, have you ever seen her like doing the circuit? Like, who is this woman? Is she even real? I mean, with what they're doing now, like some of these people aren't even real, but these people are liars. They've sold their souls and for money or fame or whatever it is. And they're dumber than anything.
She's got a very sensible haircut, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can go back.
Normally they have the crazy long hair on the space station, right? And why would they let a woman with long hair on the space station?
Why would you
flying everywhere?
Yeah.
Right. And their hair is always frozen in the air. It doesn't flow like it would flow.
You know, women always forget their scrunchie. All right. You take them anywhere.
So watch this. This is called the Argo system. This is NASA. They admit they have this Argo system, which is how they practice hanging for their spacewalk. This guy is on the Argo system. He's not floating in space. He's doing the same thing that these guys are doing, except you just can't see the wires. And when these guys do flips, they're pivoting around a harness. They're pivoting around a harness. Now, there's things are done in different ways. Sometimes they're using harnesses, and sometimes they're in on a this guy's on a harness right there. There's the wires. You can see it pulling up on his shirt.
Okay.
But sometimes they're on a 0G plane and they're actually floating. This guy can't even lift his knees, but they're both on harnesses there. Right? This guy falls. Okay.
Can you see all this on your app? Because these are hilarious.
They're all, by the way, there's way better stuff on my app. Just what about NASA? Unbelievable videos that will blow you away. And this is ridiculous.
That's awesome.
This is ridiculous. Okay.
They would have theater people in there too. Love these mashups.
there's and check this out. Watch this guy's elbow. It becomes translucent. Oh, watch this thing on the wall right here. See, this is on the far wall, and you can see through him.
Yeah.
Because there is no turn. He's on a 0G plane. He is floating. He's on a 0G plane. You know what a 0G plane is,
No,
right?
I was just going to ask you. Oh, is that the one they fly?
That's where these planes take these parabolic arcs, and then you can float for about 45 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is both on a parabolic flight, but this one looks like the space station. But they admit this is done, in training. So this was a live show that was on the news. They're like, we're going to have like 45 seconds of satellite time. And like 30 seconds in, all of a sudden, these guys slammed into the wall. Something happened and they cut away. They're like, oh, there was a catastrophic shift of the space shuttle or station or wherever they were on.
Flare.
And so what happened was they came out of their parabolic arc too soon. And so I turned it sideways. This is the end of a parabolic arc. And this is what happened on the news. And watch this guy in the foreground. He captures that duct tape and whatever else he was floating with one hand, like a boss, like he's done it 50 times before. So this is the end of a parabolic arc. And so is this. But they told us it's the space station.
What was the Tom Hanks movie? Apollo 11 or Apollo 13?
Yeah.
So, but that's how they did that. They did all the space stuff was they took the 0G planes and then
you are you Tom Hanks's brother? Because you look exactly like him.
People tell me I look like Elon Musk. I'm surprised you didn't bring that one up.
No, you look like Tom Hanks.
Oh, thanks. I'm a little bigger.
Yeah. This was at the end of a live stream, and something happened. These guys are hanging from wires, and then everything that was floating sketched out. Now the Globers will say, "Oh, that's compression, cosmic rays." Well, how come everything that wasn't floating didn't glitch out? Only the things that were on the floating layer glitched out.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Look at this woman's hair, if you can see in the background. And this guy flips, and this guy had to grab his wire because things got out of control. There's one, I don't have the clip right here, where there's one girl, her system went out of control and she started floating through the air. And this other guy quickly pulls a ball out of his pocket and goes, "Look at the ball." And he spins the ball in the air. So you don't look. It's so dumb.
So it's like space camp / magic school, like, oh, look over here.
I wish I had it. God, I don't have it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right here.
So what's the name of your app again?
It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. So there's some on Android. There's a knockoff, same name, made by the kind of Flat Earth Society. This is a 0G plane, and this is supposedly the space station. He's having the same issues with the parabolic arc not going as smooth as it should.
Russian pilots.
Yeah. So this is done in front of a green screen on this 0G plane. So they use all different techniques just to confuse you,
I'm surprised none of these women got Me Too'd with all this groping going on.
They probably did.
Yeah.
I mean, they've sold their souls and they deserve everything they get.
I'm just concerned about people's welfare.
Yeah. Good. Nice of you.
They're all dressed really nicely, cargo pants and polo shirts.
Yeah. So again, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. Just look for this icon, or just go to theflatearthpodcast.com, click there, and it's right there on the homepage. It'll take you to the Android or iOS version. Or if you're watching this on a computer, just point your phone at this little QR code. It'll show right up on your phone.
Nice.
Awesome.
And read the reviews if you're concerned about the $2.99. I was on a show with this, I don't want to call him a moron, but he was an idiot. And he was drinking a $4 Monster energy drink and complaining about the $2.99 app that he'll have for the rest of his life.
Right.
While he's drinking the poison, that only the ill effects of the poison will remain with him for the rest of his life.
Fair enough.
Cancer's expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, you really got to put some effort in.
So,
and so how often do you guys do your podcast?
that's a funny joke. It was a weekly podcast, bi-weekly, and then it went to like monthly, and then bi-monthly, and then bi-yearly, and then
Sure.
This whole COVID thing, my co-host decided to have 5 babies, and he's been a little
At the
busy.
same time?
Yeah, so he's trying to figure out a way to get her pregnant before the birth, so there's extra time to do a podcast.
that
But
makes
we're
sense.
working on it. But there's if you haven't heard the podcast, just start from the beginning. Just go. They're timeless. They're timeless. So
and
we're working on getting another one out soon.
Do you guys stick primarily to the flat Earth topic, or do you guys venture off into other areas?
On the podcast, the last couple episodes, we kind of ventured off into this, this COVID's world, and but we do try to keep the Flat Earth podcast true to talking about flat Earth. The most people are sick of hearing all this stuff. So why is Dave Weiss talking about flat Earth when there's all this craziness going on in the world? And the bottom line is, if we ever get our freedom back, how long can we hold on to it? If we don't know where we are, who we are, what we are, and we're spinning out of control, lost in space with no foundation. I just shook up some people's world that are listening to this, but now you have something to stand on, and you have energy to take from that, and you can stop giving away to the matrix. Your mind is in the matrix when you believe you live on a globe, because your mind is in a prison. And once you wake up, once you take that red pill, you find out who you are, where you are, what you are, and the power of your mind.
Fascinating. It definitely gives you some stuff to think about. Very interesting.
Totally. Oh, I knew it was going to be,
Yeah.
And of course I got to sneak jokes in and, poke him a little bit. So, but I think that's good for him, because he keeps him on his toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. A very thought-provoking. I'm glad that we had him on. I think it's going to make a lot of people think.
Yes. Yeah. He's, just a great guest. I mean, he basically covered all the
major points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew he would. I knew we weren't going to have to bring much. I did some research and looked at some certain, just some of the things that I think about when I hear these conversations. And so, a lot of it got answered.
Well,
not all of it was to my satisfaction.
Sure.
But
it's hard to get that into an hour and a half, though.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why it's you have to take it for what it is. So, like my biggest thing about it is I do like to question things.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are some things that I look at and I'm like, well, that is a good point, and then there's other things where I'm like, I don't think you quite got the explanation there. But also that not everything's going to be explained.
Right. Yeah, and that's what he was saying too. And then plus, he's got all of his podcasts, so anybody that's genuinely interested in learning more can definitely go check it out. And hopefully we can get him on at some point in the future.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm sure he would absolutely, come on again. Because obviously he's got a lot to talk about, and if he doesn't have anywhere to talk about it, that sucks. So
all right.
So yeah, that's Roma got that guest, and so very excellent job. So you can check us out on all podcasting platforms. We are on Instagram at the Sensible Sociopath Podcast. We are on Minds and Gab at SensoxSteve. You can check us out on Rumble and BitChute, and here on YouTube. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share with your friends.
Absolutely.
And we will be back next week.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Best podcast in the world. The world would not be the same.
I like it.
No wonder my anxiety's so high.
Few people laughed. Few people cried.
Oh, what's in the box?
Most people were silent.
And that was it.
Now I am become death.
Sounds like a bad time.
The destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, so this doesn't seem like a great idea to me.
I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
You didn't tell me any of that. That's crazy.
Well, Rama, when you're a hero, you don't tell everyone. until you're on your podcast.
I'm about to hear some shit.
We all need to laugh.
I think just sitting down and, listening to
The Sensible Sociopath.
This is the shit you're supposed to be watching.
Gen X is going to love it. Millennials are going to be like, I'm offended.
You have offended me.
Also, my dog has a giant dick.
Oh my god, that's enormous.
I love it.
It's still a racist dog whistle.
Where you kind of have like a rotating cast of characters.
We're talking baby seals, eagles, wolves.
I'm just glad we're not going to have to eat with racism anymore.
It's worse than the butthole.
We're technically considered propaganda.
It is very contagious.
I think we really need to talk about environmentalism.
Like, are they studying pine cones?
Make yourself a nice stingray omelet. That's how Steve Irwin died. Cholesterol.
It's fucking delicious.
his father had ended up killing his mother and committing suicide.
In that order?
That's diabolical. I like it.
They had an apple gun where you could shoot Bigfoot.
Has she always been retarded?
I mean, she could have had a head injury.
You don't know anything about tartar sauce.
He had picked up a 400-pound statue and was like walking around with it.
Was the statue racist?
I'd like to think so.
It's like how they invented bacon and avocado to make a turkey sandwich tolerable.
I have a fear of fire.
Like a werewolf? Daniel, you've been our greatest viewer. Well, Daniel and Sarah and Katrina. Daniel!